Okay, so I'm going to detail the process of how I go about stippling Glocks or any kind of firearm. Really, polymer's different with every one. First step, remove all the internals of the lower. Then I take putty knife. You can use a ruler, whatever you want to use to, as you can see, to make your straight lines around. You can measure them to make everything precise with right angles and 90 and 45-degree angles, all the stuff you want to do. I'm going to do another line around the base here, but as you can see with the outline I've done right now, now that I've got that outline, I'm going to do a time-lapse video. I'm going to use this tool right here to clamp it down to keep it stable. That way I can use both hands with my trusty flex cut U-gouge. I don't know if you can see that well, but yeah, it's a U-gouge to go around and create my border so that I can keep my stippling pattern within that border, just to give it the factory look and feel, okay? Here's the bottom. Now granted, when you see these lines, the inside is far less perfect than the outside. The outside finish is what we're keeping, so your outside lines need to be better than your inside lines, because all of this is going to be ground away. So long as our outside border lines right here are generally crisp, the inside does not matter, because you can see how I dug in deeper right there, but the outside border is still good. But after you get done grinding and everything, you can still go through with a precision knife and straighten up all those edges. Now it's time to go around with the border of the bottom. Okay, as you can see, we have finished the borders for the bottom and the top of our pistol. Now, personally, you can use a bunch of different tape, protective tape, to protect the outside layer. Some people don't. Some people take their sweet time, but I find it more convenient and a lot safer on the factory finish. This is Gorilla Tape right here. It's super thick, super durable. If you hit it with a grinding head, it is not going to grind through it easily. You'd have to really hold it on there. Now I use a certain Dremel tool. This is the Dremel tool that I use right here to go around and grind off the factory finish on the inside while protecting the Glock logo, of course. Many different methods for doing this. Some people do it by hand, some people do it by Dremel tool. I do it by Dremel tool and get up close to the edge and finish it with a sandpaper finish. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that with protecting, going around the borders, protecting the factory finish first, and then go around it with the Dremel tool with a grinding head. Got all of our borders protected now with the tape. So we're about to get to grinding with the Dremel tool. One thing I do is I always start by going around the borders and everything that's sensitive. So I'll go around the Glock logo first to protect that. Very gently, try my best not to burn into it. Then I'll start by going around my borders. I'm always using the grinding tool. I'm never spinning it towards my borders so that it doesn't catch and jerk out. I'm spinning it away from the borders, so towards the insides always, or away from my Glock logo when I'm grinding around that. And I always wear a mask in this part because a lot of this polymer frame will turn into tiny particulates floating around in the air, so I would just suggest you use a mask. All right, so Glock logo is protected. It's still there. Perfect. Didn't eat into my tape anywhere. Of course, I mean, it frays the tape. I mean, without the tape, you'd have to just work so much slower, but it enables it now. The next step is I'm going to take the tape off. Now that all of my general sanding and grinding is done, I'm going to take the tape off, go over it with precision knife and even my grinding tool, just very carefully in some areas to work it down, maybe where the tape covered it up or, you know, dust got over it, something like that. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I did do the trigger well for this person that I'm doing it for. I'm not doing the magazine well release because it's a 19X. 19X has, I don't know, it just seems like it has a really good mag release, so I don't need to grind that out. With certain pistols, especially compacts, subcompacts, you can drill out the magazine release well right there. I kind of did a bit of an undercut underneath the mag well. So this basically a double undercut right here so that your finger slides into that. Got a nice grip on it. Basically all that's left to done is do the touch up around the border, sand it down, and then do our stippling. Now to begin the stippling process, I have a fan, kind of like an exhaust fan so that it gets rid of the fumes from stippling the polymer. It's kind of harmful if you breathe it in. I've done it before without a mask. This is an N95 mask right here with a rebreather on it, so it helps keep the fumes out of your nostrils. I've got a wood burning kit gun right here that has specialized attachments for it. Those are just normal attachments because I'm doing a dot stipple pattern to resemble snake skin is what I call it. I've got a brush to periodically brush the polymer off of the tip right there. Here's the frame right here as it lies after it's been cleaned up and sanded down, ground out. And I'm going to start by going around the borders first with a very small dot stipple, which that head right there is pretty small. Then I'm going to go around the outside border of that with this one right here, and then I will finish with the large dot stipple right there. All right, now that we're done with that, you can see I want to run the border. Outlined everything with the smallest stipple head. Now it's on to the next size. we have done the bottom with the medium dot stipple, gone around pistol twice now, 2 different sizes of borders. Now I'm going to use this head right here, which is a large dot stipple head, which makes kind of gives it like a snakeskin pattern. I'm going to start with the Glock logo and build around the Glock logo and get larger and larger and larger. Try to follow that all the way around. It gives it kind of like an expanding appearance. There's different ways to do it. Some people do stack patterns, just straight up and down. Some do side to side. Some pick a random spot. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, but typically I find that it draws attention to the Glock logo. And as most Glock owners, they love their Glock logo, so that's where I put my central part. All right, here's the finished product with the full-size dot stipple. Now I'm going to do the side rails for the fingers on the side. Still got to go over it to make it have a nice finish, make it look smooth and everything. We'll go ahead and do. All right, now that we're done with the rough finish of the stippling, we're gonna go over it with this kind of coarse brush. Helps take a lot of the imperfections out of the dots and the stippling. If you get up close, you can see how there's kind of rough edges. It just takes a lot of the rough edges, makes it look smoother, and decreases a bit of the grip on it. But I mean, even if you did a soak test on this after we do the finished on it, it's still gonna grip perfect, just gonna look better. The last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna wash it with soap and water, get all the dust, all the debris out of the internals right here, and put it back together. Should give it a nice shine, restore the coat, go over it with a little bit of polish. And here's the finished product. All the internals back in, blown out with an air compressor.